everybody. Welcome to Fans Down South. I'm John Miller. With me is Steve Jinks.
Hello, John. Hello, fans down south. We're glad to be with you right here,
That's
man.
right. And we're downtown today.
We are.
We are at Roundhouse Mobile, downtown Alabama. And
almost as south as you can get in Alabama. So we're doing good, man.
And we got some people joining us right now on Facebook Live. But lots of stuff to talk about. We had our second week of the college football season.
It was, John. It was a week that was filled with not so many highlighted games. Not one top 25 matchup this past weekend, but some exciting games nonetheless.
And some of them were unexpected. You know, you had Arkansas, which went into double overtime.
Yeah.
That was unexpected, and I thought that could be a really good game. I wasn't necessarily expecting Arkansas to pull it out or for it to be as exciting as it was, but it was a really good game.
You never know with the Fighting Beelamos what you're going to get, and that's kind of the way it was. Yeah, you had Arkansas taking it into double overtime,
right.
And it was an exciting game for sure. And the Razorbacks, though, they put up a fight, man, and TCU was really expected to win that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot of Auburn and Alabama. Let's go ahead and get into Alabama because you went to Tuscaloosa for the game this weekend.
I did, man. I got a call Friday night offering me tickets, and I said, sure. I had no idea how we were going to do it. We got into the game, and it was nice, cool, pleasant day back last December, but it was horrible on Saturday. I've never in my life. And there were a lot of fans that left, and I don't get that. When I'm watching it on TV, I'm like, why would a fan ever leave the game? And then I looked at my wife at halftime, and I said, 8 minutes to go in the third, we're out of here. And not because we didn't support the team or because we wanted to leave the game, it was just so hot. There were people passing out everywhere, literally. They were toting people out with stretchers and all. It was
were
crazy.
They really?
They really were. It was the most insane thing.
They were. People were going out on stretchers like fans? Or?
Fans,
really?
Not the players. There were probably some players, maybe, but
wow,
they really were. There were a lot of people, heat exhaustion and stuff. It was hot. It said it was going to be a 94-degree day. It was over 100. It had to be.
Wow.
In the stands.
Well, I'm glad you survived such a rough.
You know me, I'm one of those guys that's really in shape around, and I think that it helped out. Had a little extra endurance in me. So.
Well, now, okay. So you left. You said middle way through the third quarter?
I did, man. We left midway through the third quarter, really before all the action happened with Alabama's offense because it was a slow start again. And when we left the ball game, a lot of things happened after that were pretty cool. So, man, it was a fun game. It definitely was a fun game, but it was hot and miserable at times too. And, a lot of people were fanning. Literally, I thought about fans down south because I looked down the south end zone from where I was, and literally there were fans, not just human fans, but actually paper fans, going crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there you go. That's what it really means, I guess. That's where the fans come from. Man, it was a fun game though.
Well, now, so you had to wait till you got back to find out about the drama between.
Sort of, John. Okay. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say the drama.
Yeah, there was a little bit of drama. Yeah.
Yeah, Saban and Kiffin. I didn't see it on the field, obviously, and I didn't even see it as we were walking around outside on the bus and getting on the bus to head back to the car. But I heard about it because I did hear as soon as I got in the car and started to head home, I heard the interview from the press conference.
Okay.
And Saban said, well, he had a few words to say.
Yeah.
But very few. But he was very short and sweet with it. He just basically said, that's a chewing and not an argument.
Okay.
I think an argument depicts two people going against each other.
You would have two people going back and forth.
Yeah,
and
this was just a chew.
So that's what he was insinuating, that this was not a back and forth.
Yeah, it was just Saban's kosher way of saying it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't see it until later. I watched the video of when Saban walked by and was just kind of jawing at him. It reminded me a little bit of Gene Stallings back in the early N'S when Gene Stallings would walk by and just rah, rah, rah,
right.
Except there was probably a little more colorful language coming out.
Well, now let me ask you this, because he had he said that was a blank chewing that he gave Lane Kiffin.
Mm-hmm.
He also said that he was almost embarrassed by the performance of Alabama and that he couldn't remember being more disappointed after a win.
Yeah. Is that shocking to anybody?
Well, I guess my question to you is, as an Alabama fan, because you went to the game.
I did.
Did you ever feel that way when you were watching it? Did you ever?
I was disappointed.
You were.
I just thought I would see more offensive production. I really wanted to see more. And it's just a fan. It's just not that I'm out there on the field working. I just wanted to see more. I wanted to see more running.
Okay.
I want to see more production on the running side of things, and I didn't see it. And the time that I left in the ball game, just to be fair, a lot of passing went on after that.
Okay.
I mean, I heard Jalen Hurts' numbers were 280-something yards, and I was going,
how did that
really? Where did that happen? Because I didn't see it when I was there.
Yeah.
But it did happen, and I'm glad, and I'm thankful. There was no surprise. There was not a shock that Saban said this. Not a shock he said anything. Matter of fact, tomorrow night on the Hey Coach show, Tuesday night when they have that show, whenever that is, you'll hear Saban again talking to the fans, and he'll be talking about the fact that we got to get fired up for the. He's going to say something during this week controversial.
Well, I guess this is my other question: what he said about it being a disappointing performance and all this. Did it have more to do with next week than it did this week with Ole Miss coming up?
I think he was disappointed. In maybe the performance. I will say this: I think when he chewed out Lane Kiffin, from what I understand, it was right after Alabama had been scored on, after they held him the whole game, and then a few seconds to go in the game, he goes over and starts chewing on Lane. Right after they got scored on, they'd held him to to field goal, and I think that probably ticked him off a little bit. So I do think he was upset at that point. Now in the press conference and what he said, and being upset, I think he was upset, but I think it had a lot more to do. I mean, I could have told you last week at this time, Saban's going to be fired up after the Alabama game no matter what the score was, because very rarely does he go into a game. And I'm not being arrogant. I'm not being an Alabama arrogant fan. I know that we have those. I'm very aware of that. But if you just look at the statistics, very rarely does a team beat Saban twice. A coach beats Saban twice in a row.
Right.
And when that happens, it's going to be.
Well, no, you're right. And that's why I asked that question, because you kind of get the sense that he's coaching against complacency right now.
Yeah,
because they were fired up that first game of the season. There's no doubt about that. And then this week, it's hard to get fired up about playing the Red Grimaces of Western Kentucky.
That's exactly right.
And you turn around, and then the next week they've got Ole Miss, a team that's beat them 2 years in a row, and maybe he's wondering, are these guys really ready to go?
I think he just wanted to see more production on the Russian side. I mean, that's just my opinion. I think that this is going to be the toughest test, obviously, that Alabama's faced this year against Ole Miss. It's going to be the biggest defense they've faced, the strongest defense, and he wanted to see some more production on the other side, I think. And I also think Alabama's defense will be strong this week, but we'll get into the game predictions later. But I think that's probably where the disappointment comes from, is he would have liked to have seen more balance on offense.
Whenever Saban said it was a blank chewing, do you have any thoughts on what maybe he actually had to say to Lane in the heat of the moment? Do you have any insight on that?
My insight's going to be biased from what I've heard other people say, probably.
Well, that's okay.
But I think probably it had something to do with something sort of like, we don't need this cute, fancy offense. Let's make basic plays. Let's run down the field.
Right.
Let's
you were saying, let's run the ball.
Well, let's block and let's open up holes and run, and let's do passing plays that are effective and high percentage. Let's don't just keep doing this cutesy stuff. That's just my opinion. And again, I may be way off on that. It could be, I can't believe we're having this for dinner tonight. I don't know. I have no idea.
No, I will not meet you for golf tomorrow.
That's right. I will be in Sunday school.
Yes.
That could have been what it was.
Could have been.
Probably not, though.
Okay. I was just curious if you had any insight about that.
Well, there you go, John. Not much.
Okay. So, the Auburn game. And I will say, as an Auburn fan, I was very pleased with the performance. I know,
as an Alabama fan, I was pleased with Auburn's return. I mean, I really was. I was impressed.
Well,
with
I got to say, I mean, even though I know people are going to say, well, it was against Arkansas State and this and that and the other, but
the same people were also saying there's a good chance Arkansas State could beat Auburn. So,
well, you know, if you look at, like we were just saying, Saban was upset because he didn't like the execution.
Yeah.
As an Auburn fan, even though they were playing Arkansas State, what I really liked was the execution.
Yeah.
I thought the offense looked a lot better. Yeah. I thought they were really clicking on all cylinders. They had over 700 yards of offense.
It's like a fat boy climbing a chocolate apple tree. There's only one way to go, and that's up. And the thing was,
well, they went way up though.
They did. But I mean, the first game was so lackluster, and you're like, what in the world is going on with our offense?
Right.
And now Auburn looks like a legitimate offense, and that's good.
Yeah,
that's good for Auburn.
And I think we'll find out a lot more this week whenever they play Texas A&M at home.
Yeah,
but
I like Auburn a lot better this week than I did last week.
Well, I do too, and I'll say this: one of the things I found interesting. They said that the running numbers were the highest they had since the 2013 SEC championship game.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot right there.
Yeah. I was definitely impressed with what I didn't get to watch any of the game. I listened to a lot of the game. And you could tell that Stan and Rod were loving it up in the booth. I mean, they were excited about what was going on up there.
Sure.
And so for sure, man, Auburn looks like a lot better team this week than they did last week. So
well, and that brings me to next week. You know, both teams are going to have a really big challenge ahead of them. Alabama plays Ole Miss, and Auburn plays Texas A&M. You know, and I'm not sure what to really make of it. Do you have any predictions for this coming week?
Both those games are interesting games. Texas A&M they showed out on offense this week too. And I think both of those teams are kind of the question marks right now. For if you look at the SEC West, Auburn and Texas A&M both. Just the only way to put it, they're question marks. You don't really know exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Texas A&M may be a little more proven so far, but Auburn did well against Arkansas State. It's going to be the first, real. I shouldn't say the first real test for Auburn because they had one beginning of the season.
Sure.
But in the SEC, it's going to be a test for Auburn, and I think I don't know. Maybe it's just a wild hair. I feel like Auburn wins this game.
You think so?
I really do.
It's another opportunity to kind of put it all together. You know,
it is.
Like you said, they had an early test against Clemson.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't have it all together. Now they look like they're starting to get it together offensively. So it'll be a
check mark on Clemson. We'll come back to that in just a second.
Well,
that's
but
the Alabama Ole Miss game this week, I think it's going to really depend on how Alabama prepares, and I really believe it's going to be how effective they are. I'm not trying to just beat a dead horse, but how effective they are at running the ball this week. It's going to be huge. They've got to be able to run the ball. They can't just sit back and pass the entire game,
right,
and expect to do well.
Well, and it'll be a big road test for them too.
I will. It'll be a lot of pressure. It's a lot of talk going around, and hey, can Nick Saban? Is he going to be beat 3 times in a row by Hugh Freeze?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not to mention there's players on the field, but we're just talking about the coaches. That's what people think. That's the way people think.
Yeah. So you mentioned Clemson there. Clemson took a dive in the polls a little bit, and so did Georgia.
Yeah.
Even though both of them won,
they did.
They both took a little bit of a dive because they had close games against what was not really supposed to be much competition.
No.
What do you think about the concept of a team going down even when they win? What do you think about that?
I think it's probably a little bit of the indication of how they played the first games of the season. Now you had Clemson against Auburn. Not a great performance. Not saying anything against Auburn. It wasn't a great performance by Clemson.
Right.
We didn't think, or maybe it was. We weren't sure.
Yeah.
Then they come out, and it's like you kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt. Then they come out against Troy, and way to go Trojans! But and Troy really Troy made Clemson not look good.
Right.
You just don't think Troy. Yeah, Troy's going to give Clemson fits this week, and that's kind of what happened.
Right.
Same thing with Nicholls State. I mean, that's just Nichols.
Yeah. Did they used to beat Nicholls State? Because I kept wanting to call them.
But I kept hearing them
Nichols,
Nichols, and so I guess it's Nichols now. Nichols College maybe.
Right.
But the same thing with them. You got Georgia, who looked great in that first game. Great coming out party. For the new coach and everything, Kirby Smart, and the new quarterback, Jacob Eason. And then they come out this week, and it's like, we'll just squeak by. Nichols.
Right.
They beat the last name. That's what they did. So it's just kind of, I don't know.
Well, I
don't have a problem with them going down. I really don't.
Well, it makes me wonder, though, should these polls even be available this early?
That's
an
argument
saying?
That's gone on forever. Yeah.
It's kind of like, one team beats another. Do we really know much about? I mean, we don't know much about either team. So what does it really mean that early?
As impressed as I've been with Alabama's defense and just overall the victories and the margin of victory and everything else, the first 2 games, I'm not sure they're the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
But I don't see anybody else really that is either. So you're right. It's kind of subjective. Like, what do you think? When do you think they should start polling? It's everybody's opinion. There's a lot of people that have opinions about it. I think that personally, I'm fine with shuffling it around these first few weeks. Now I think as it gets later on in the season, you're going to be playing stiffer competition. To lose to a really good team is different than losing to a Nichols.
Right.
Or a Troy. Not saying Troy's not a good team and Nichols aren't a good team. I'm not knocking their programs. I'm just saying consistently do we see those in the top 25 of the AP? No.
Yeah.
And to lose to those teams, or not to lose, but to win, but to come close to losing, I guess is
right.
The thing.
Well, and Tennessee took a dive the first week because they had a close game against Appalachian State.
Tennessee turned it around this week, though, didn't they?
They did.
Slow and sluggish at first.
Yeah.
A little tough, a little slugfest, and then all of a sudden, once Tennessee kicked it in gear, there was no looking back, and Virginia Tech was just like, I want to hokey back home. We want to go home. We don't like this new 150,000 seat stadium. We want to get out of here.
So we talked just a little bit about Arkansas, TCU. That was a really exciting game over the weekend.
Yeah.
And I think I was texting you during the game. I was like, "Oh, it looks like they're going to overtime." Never mind. Scratch that. Wait, they are going to overtime.
I got that as I was crawling into bed. Actually, I didn't even know what was going on.
It was crazy, man.
I wish I could have seen it. That would have been cool.
It was a good one.
I suffer from non-cableitis at home, and so I don't. If it's not on ABC, which I did get to see the ABC game, the Florida,
you just have to read about it later.
Yeah, that's what I had to do.
So that was this past weekend. This upcoming weekend, we got some good games in the SEC. Of course, we talked about Alabama, Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas A&M. An interesting game, Mississippi State, LSU.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was this weekend. That is an interesting game. And Mississippi State, what happens there? What's going on with them?
Yeah.
But then again, what's going on with LSU?
Well, and I think, it looked like whenever LSU switched their quarterback, maybe, I don't know if there's a quarterback controversy there, but it definitely looks like they're thinking about going to another quarterback. I
heard that from a quarterback expert, basically, that Brandon Harris's arm is one of the greatest arms maybe in the country. His arm
strength.
As far as just having a good arm. Mm-hmm. As far as his quarterback ability, it's not the same. It's not the greatest in the country, but he has such a great arm that it's kind of hard to pull him and put somebody else in there. He's a good athlete. Yeah. Not saying he's not a great. It just hasn't seemed to click yet for Brandon Harris, and so they did try somebody different, and it seemed to work, John.
Well, so as we look at this LSU Mississippi State game, are we possibly? I mean, who wins this game and who loses this game? Could somebody's job be on the line one way or the other? I mean, Mississippi State's season didn't get off to a great start. Neither did LSU's.
It's an interesting question. I don't think they get fired this week if they lose, but I think the seat gets incredibly hotter no matter who loses this game. It does. You're starting out the third game of the season with 2 losses. Somebody is.
Yeah.
Right?
And neither one of those programs thought they'd be there. I'm sure. Yeah.
No, and LSU loses to Wisconsin. That's one thing. Mississippi State loses to South Alabama. That's another thing. Mm-hmm. And at home, nonetheless. So you got two schools. And then, obviously one of them's going to lose, and it's not going to be a big shocker which one loses. But either way, it's going to be a little bit of a hot seat for that coach. I think it's going to depend on how the programs look, too. If it's a blowout, and if it's a rout for either team, that losing coach is in big trouble. I think. Yeah.
Do you what about this Kentucky job? Because I think they were maybe thinking that this would be I don't know if you'd say they thought they would beat Florida or whatever, but
you're talking about basketball, right?
No.
I'm kidding. But the thing is, that's the problem. It's been such a basketball
and it just
war.
wasn't a competitive game, Florida, Kentucky.
No.
I mean,
no. It was disappointing, man.
Yeah.
It really was. And I think he's certainly in trouble in Kentucky. I really do.
Okay.
I think the Kentucky head coach seat in Stoops is a hot seat right now. And you say, well, it's just Kentucky. They're used to – well, no, they've kind of built up a reputation. Hey, we've paid the money to make this thing happen.
Right.
And we want to see it happen. They've had a little success.
Well, and they had some expectations there. I mean, Joker Phillips had them on a winning – I don't know if you'd say a winning streak, but they were definitely doing better than they do historically.
And Stoops, is supposed to be a good coach. And from all accounts, he is a good coach and a good guy. Mm-hmm. But it just has not happened. And it's a hot seat.
Yeah.
Already early in the season like this.
Well, I'm looking around the rest of the country to see what interesting games are also going on this weekend outside of the SEC. We got Florida State, Louisville.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
That's a top 10 matchup there.
It is. College game day is going to be there. It's going to be pretty much the highlighted game of the week. But you got these two SEC or three SEC matchups, but really the two we talked about at the top that are big games.
You've also got Ohio State, Oklahoma. That'll be an interesting game.
That'll be a big game, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how they can get up for this game. And, of course, it's at Oklahoma, so that's sort of added pressure there.
There's a big difference between playing LSU, Auburn, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia in your schedule.
Right.
And playing Toledo and Miami, Ohio. You know, there's just such a difference.
Right.
Those games may be traditional for Ohio State, but they're not key matchups that really challenge your team like they should.
Yeah. Now, are you an NFL person at all?
I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, but I'm kind of a regional NFL person.
Okay.
I pull for South teams. I'm a Titans, Falcons, mostly Saints fan, and then I also pull for teams that have Alabama players, former Alabama players in it. So.
Right. Well, I was just going to say this weekend was very disappointing for me I say I'm a Saints fan.
Yeah.
But they frustrate me so much.
I've been there through the long years,
It's hard to always be a Saints fan.
It is, but I was there in the Bobby Hebert years, man, back in the day.
I remember Bobby Hebert.
Yeah.
That was a very frustrating game to watch over the weekend against the Raiders. They had that game won a few times, and then they just let it get away.
Apparently, Drew Brees was throwing it all over the field.
And he had a great game.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
but they just cannot pull it out.
Defensively, they just it was driving me nuts.
35-34.
Yes, and they lost on the Raiders came in and they scored a touchdown, and it was I guess it was 33-34. They were down by 1 point.
Yeah,
and instead of going for the extra point to tie it and go into overtime, they went for 2, and they got it, and it shouldn't even been close.
Yeah, but it was.
To tell you the truth, but it was.
It can be frustrating, man.
Yeah, really I'm trying to decide if I want to spend my fall this year watching the Saints.
Do it, man. It'll be worth it.
I'm trying to decide. It's
one game. It's the first game of the season. It wasn't like it was a blowout. Come on.
Well, but it was against the Raiders. If you play the Raiders at home,
but the Raiders are improved.
Everybody's healthy. You got to win.
The Raiders are improved this year.
They're improved. They have a first-year coach over there.
Yeah, but they got a third-year quarterback.
He's not a first-year coach, but he's first year there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a different Raiders, man.
It's frustrating. I'm gonna give them a couple more weeks. If they don't get better, I'm gonna have to drop them. I am.
Come on, John, stick with them, man. You got to stick with them. You were there for the 8 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's just horrible to watch them. They have the talent, and then they just.
You can always go old school and take out the paper bag and cut the holes in it.
If you know they're bad to start the season and you don't expect much, it's one thing. But to have, expectations after, Super Bowl and everything, to have Drew Brees and,
My NFL logic wasn't very strong growing up. I thought every single team had fans that sat in the stands with paper bags over their head. I really did. I was such a Saints fan. I just thought that was everybody's deal.
Yeah, everybody does.
I'd watch other games and where are the paper sacks? What's up?
Are they not real fans?
Yeah. Where are they at?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're just about out of time, but we want to thank y'all for joining us right here, Fans Down South, and we want y'all to interact with us. Call us, 251-281-8844. We'd love to hear your takes on some of these games over the weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can always email us, fansdownsouth@gmail.com. And we're also we've got a podcast on iTunes.
Man.
Yeah. Are you excited about that?
That's pretty cool, John.
Yeah.
I am.
People from all over the world can listen to our banter.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
I hope they will. They can learn a lot from you, John.
From me?
Yeah.
From you?
From us.
Yes.
Here at Fans Down South.
Anyway, thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Definitely.